Hello, I'm Rahul and today I'm going to talk about the real meaning of forgiveness. If you are someone who is contemplating about forgiveness, then one thing is certain, that either you are at the receiving end, which means that somebody must have exploited you, cheated you, and now you feel deeply hurt and you find it really difficult to forgive the other person. Or you are the culprit, where you have exploited someone and now you find it really difficult to forgive yourself. So whether it is about forgiving the other people or it's about forgiving yourself, in both the scenarios, the remedy is the same. But for the sake of simplicity, we will explore both these possibilities one by one. First, let's try to understand why and how to forgive others. If someone has cheated or exploited you, what do you think is going to be your response in that moment? The initial response for a lot of people will be having revengeful feelings towards the other person. And you know what revenge is like? Revenge is like picking up a hot piece of coal to hit the other person. First, you are going to get hurt, then the other person will get hurt. So whether the other person is willing to accept the mistake or he or she is not willing to accept the mistake, in both the scenarios, you have to forgive the other person. Forgiveness is like dropping the hot piece of coal. Forgiveness is intelligence. Now, this is the why of forgiveness. You should forgive because it is intelligent to forgive. Now, coming to the question of how to forgive the other person, it's very simple. By understanding the point of view that the other person has. You need to understand that each one of us is limited in nature. We are confined by our genetic makeup, by environmental influences, by early experiences of our childhood, by the people that we have around us all the time, by the current stresses that we are having in our life. So without taking in all this data, we cannot form a judgment about the other person. So first of all, you need to look at the whole situation through the point of view that the other person has. And once you're going to look at the whole situation from the other person's perspective, you will find that the other person is thinking right according to his or her own understanding of life. Even if you're going to ask a hardcore criminal whether he did the right thing, in majority of the cases, all the hardcore criminals will say that yes, they did the right thing. Because each one of us just trying to do the right thing in life with whatever understanding we have of life. Our moral sense is really subjective. Once this idea will sink in deeply within you, that we all are trying to do the right thing, you will just forgive the other person. And no one will accept that he has done the wrong thing. This has to be understood. If a murderer is not willing to accept that he has done the wrong thing, do you think that someone who has cheated us or exploited us will be willing to accept it? No. So if someone realizes that he has done the wrong thing and he comes to you and asks for forgiveness, then it's your moral obligation to forgive that person, because it is a rare phenomena. Someone has realized that he has made the mistake. Now it's your moral obligation to forgive that person so that he or she doesn't live under the burden of guilt. And this is just half the problem. The other half is to forgive the other person and ask him not to repeat the mistake. That's when you totally get rid of the problem. If the other person will just repeat the mistake, again this cycle will start. Again you will feel deeply hurt. Again you will contemplate about forgiving the other person. You don't want to do that. So first part is to forgive the other person, and the second part is to make sure that he or she gets the message that this mistake does not need to be repeated in the future. Now, if someone doesn't even acknowledges that he or she has made a mistake, in that scenario also, the intelligent thing is to forgive the other person. At the same time, you have to make sure that you maintain a certain distance from that person. Because you cannot ask this person to not repeat the mistake, because he's not even willing to accept that he has made a mistake. So in this, the other half of the problem is going to be solved by maintaining a certain distance from that person. That's when you totally get rid of the problem. Now coming to the second dimension of forgiveness, how to forgive yourself. If you're contemplating about forgiveness, then one thing is certain, that you must have realized that you have made a mistake. And now the intelligent thing is to accept the mistake. That's the best thing that you can do to yourself. But we don't do it. The moment we accept the mistake, guilt arises in us. We find it really difficult to forgive ourselves. And the cause is our conditioning. Right from the very childhood, we are told to be perfect beings. And perfection means an absence of mistakes. It cannot happen in real life. It is against existence. It is against life. In life, nothing is perfect. Perfection means that now there is no scope of growth or evolution. And you know what? Only dead things have no scope of growth or evolution. Living beings are synonymous with growth and evolution. So mistakes are an integral part of life. Mistakes are synonymous with growth and evolution. So making mistakes is perfectly fine. You just have to make sure that you do not repeat the mistake. So if you have made a mistake in the past, just learn from it and make a commitment to yourself that I'm not going to repeat this mistake. If you can just stick to this commitment, then there is no need to live under the burden of guilt. So these are the 2 steps that you need to take in order to forgive yourself. First, realize that mistakes are an integral part of life and accept your mistakes. Second, do not repeat the mistake. This is how you become free of all the guilt. This is how you forgive yourself. And in that, there is great freedom. So I hope that you have understood the real meaning of forgiveness. And if you need to forgive someone else or even yourself, you will do it without any hesitation. And I wish you all the best for that.